Hello and welcome to my scrap room. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my Project Life setup, and so I thought I would start with a like a backed up version of so that you can see my space. This is where I sit and do my scrapbooking. Usually my chair is right there, but I'm sitting in it right now as I talk to you guys. So what I'm going to share with you guys today is mostly this Raskog here and this Raskog here. Most of my Project Life stuff is actually in the top two trays, so we'll be focusing on this and this. And also just some of the other things that I reach for. I try to keep everything super handy so that I can grab things fairly quickly. So I'll show you how I have everything set up in this video. So these are my two Raskogs that sit to my left and also sort of behind me as I'm sitting. And so I can turn and pull from either of these as I wish. I'm going to show you how I have these set up, and I'll change cameras a little bit so that you can see better, and when I change camera you'll be able to hear me a little bit. The quality of the sound will go up a little bit as well. Anyhow, I have this Raskog, which is basically a regular Raskog. It is, as you can see, it's a full Raskog with the 3 shelves, and then the Raskog beside it, I only have 2 shelves installed. That allows me to be able to browse more easily the bottom section there. And for Project Life, I will show you some of the items. These are both scrapbooking items as well as Project Life items that I keep in these. So I'll show you this one first. So what I have in the top of my first Raskog here is a close to my heart medium storage bin. I've modified it a little bit by taking the lid off, and I did have to cut it with scissors to get it off, like with heavy duty scissors. And so it can't be put back on once you take it off, but I had been using it for a couple of years, contending with lifting the lid every time I used it, and it was getting annoying, and I was pretty sure that I just wanted it for the bottom, for the base. And what I really like about this is that it has these dividers. I'm going to take it out and show it to you with my other camera so you can see better what I have actually in here, but I just wanted to show you how I have it here. Basically, I keep a couple of pieces of scrap white paper. These are the offcuts from when I do my stamp storage pockets. And I also have a couple of sets of alphas here that are just a funny shape. They don't fit in with my other alphas, and they are a really good size for using with Project Life, so I keep them out here. Even though I don't tend to draw from them all that often, I kind of go through phases where I remember them and then I'll use them, and then phases where I've forgotten them. This is just an extra insert that goes in there. You can configure this a whole bunch of different ways, but the way I have it is with 2 4x6 areas and 4 3x4 areas. So I'll show you that right now. So here's that medium case, and I just wanted to show you what I have stored in it and also how I have it organized. So this section here, which is 2 compartments that hold my 4x6 inch mostly Project Life cards. And what I did was I went through all of my Project Life supplies several years ago now, and I actually took out everything that had rounded corners and I destashed them. I actually still have them in my basement. I haven't decided if I'm going to sell them or hang on to them or whatever. I haven't really changed my mind in several years, so I think it's time to just let go of them. So all of these are square corner cards. So I've been storing my Project Life cards, sorting them by color as my main way of storing them for many, many years now. And this system really works well for me because I tend to reach for a certain color of card when I need something. So I'll tell you about these categories in a few minutes, but first I'll start with these categories. So I do have a category that's just this snap collection of pet cards. So these are pet related. Oh, this is in the wrong place, but anyhow, most of these are pet related cards from a snap collection that I got, and I just used my Stampin Up rounded tab punch to capture a little bit of this so I knew what it was. And that way I kind of, if I ever need a cat specific card, I know exactly where to go to get it. So besides that, the rest of the cards in this area are all sorted by color. And so if I pull out this, for example, these are mostly beiges and browns and creams. So as you can see, now this is not quite the size of a Project Life card, but I really like it and I might use it on Project Life, so I just stuck it in there. There's a few times that happens. This is a set of polka dot like embossed cards that I got from Michael's like a long time ago, and I can't remember if I cut them down into 4x6 or if I bought it as a stack like that, but anyhow, it's really old supplies, but I keep them on hand because sometimes I need like a solid background for something. And so as you can see, these are all just kind of beiges. And some of these cards are double-sided. And so what I did when I sorted them, the same thing that I do when I sort my patterned paper by color, which is my first decision is which of these sides do I like the best? So for this card, for example, this was my favorite side, so this is how I sorted it. And so any double-sided cards, I don't know if this one is double-sided or not. Yeah. So I like this side better, so that's the side that I used. So I have beiges and browns and creams, and then I have grays and blacks and whites. And again, sometimes on the other side, you'll see different colors, and that's okay. Then I have all of my pink cards. So these, obviously this isn't a pink card, but the main color on it is pink. So that's why it made it into this category. So I don't need to show you every single one of my cards here, but basically they're all sorted by color like this using these rounded tab punches from Stampin' Up. It's my favorite punch. I use it so much. And so these are all of the cards that I have. As you can tell, some of my categories are not very full, like red, for example, and that's because I tend to use a lot of red cards, so I don't get to, most red cards don't make their way into my stash. So then I have blues here, and I have a very small assortment of purples, mostly because people don't really make purple very much. Lots of companies don't, like purple doesn't show up in many collections. Then I have one tab or one category that's all multicolor. So these were cards that I couldn't pick a color for because there's just so many colors in them. So then moving forward into the next section of this container, I have, these are actually mostly not cards. So firstly, I have my collection of pip stickers right here. These are pip stickers that I bought just thinking that they might be handy for Project Life. I basically just discovered this company recently and went on their website and I fell in love with some of their stickers. Some of these are just stickers that I love. Like I love these gnomes and I love these ladies and others. And I just love these colorful flowerful, like black and white with flowers on it. And others are things that I think I might use, like we order pizza pretty much every week or every second week. Rainbows are always handy, cleaning supplies. So these are stickers that I think might go along well with my Project Life stories that I tend to tell. So I have a small collection of those. Then I have another section here that is called specialty. So these are all specialty cards. Some of these are pieces of patterned vellum that I cut down. And some of these are, like this is a weather card. So this is something that you kind of like choose what the weather was like that day and put a mark on it or something. I have a couple of pieces of clear acetate here that are cut down to 4x6. And then this is probably a Studio Calico wood veneer that is the size of a 4x6. This is just a 4x6 piece of cardstock that probably went along with that wood veneer. And then here is, I cheated a little bit and used the actual card itself to punch out the tab for that one. So that's my specialty category. So it's basically any special cards that I, wasn't sure where else to put. I didn't want them to get lost in my collection of cards. Also in that same specialty category, I have a couple of these Ellie Studio tabbed 4x6 cards. These are special because they have to be used on the right side of a spread, because these tabs actually stick out beyond the pocket protector. So, so I just keep these as something that I might use at some point. My next category here is Allie Edwards. And so what I did here was I just used some of her packaging to get her logo there. And I used my tab punch there on a piece of gray paper to just make my divider. And then these are all Allie Edwards cards that I haven't used. So these would be leftovers mostly from Stories by the Month kits, and some leftovers from Stories kits. And the reason I have Allie's cards separated, and I thought about sorting them into color, and I might do that relatively soon. I keep her separate because her cards tend to have a really distinct look, and they tend to go really well together. So if I'm using a Stories by the Month kit for, let's say, the month of March, here in 2022, and I don't have quite the right cards, or I've run out of cards, it's handy for me to be able to just pull out Allie Edwards cards to be able to say, okay, well, maybe I can find another one with a similar vibe or the same handwriting or something like that to go along with what I already have on my page. This makes it important for me to keep this separate from working them into my colors. But so my next category here is embellishments. Now, these are only Project Life embellishments or pocket page embellishments. So obviously, as a scrapbooker, I have tons of embellishments of all different sizes and shapes. These are my 4x6 embellishments that typically come in pocket page kits. So these would be all leftovers from mostly Studio Calico or Allie Edwards kits, as well as some Kelly Perky kits, and eventually there'll be some Paper Person kits in here too. So a lot of this is chipboard, but some of it is just kind of like other sticker sheets that are 4x6. These are great for using on pocket pages because they're smaller. And so I don't necessarily want these to get lost in my general scrapbooking supply. So I keep them here so that it's easy to draw from them. Obviously, there are times when I can't find the embellishments that I want in this stash, in which case I'll just expand and look into my general stash. I've got sticker sheets and those sorts of things. So, but today I'm just talking about my Project Life specific storage and setup. So these chipboard sheets that come in the kits, as you can see, I put them back even when there's, you know, like this sheet, for example, is almost all used. I just put it back. The way that they used to make these chipboard pieces stay in the sheets really, really well, and so you can easily store them this way. Now, the more recent sheets are not so great because they require tape on the back of them because they don't have the adhesive backing, and so that kind of plastic sheet on the back doesn't hold them all in place, and they pop out a lot more easily. So I've been running washi tape or even painter's tape across the back of them just to hold them in place, which makes it a little bit messier and sticky. Like obviously this other thing stuck to it, but it's okay. It's working for now, I guess. It's fine. I also I bought a small, a package of these themed, like food themed puffy stickers from Allie Edwards' shop. Again, they're very specific to Project Life because I don't typically do a 12 by 12 page about food. So, but my Project Life spreads often feature food. So I'll keep those here with my Project Life supplies. So having everything in one place and having like a little subset of embellishments that go with my cards is really, really helpful. I'll just put these back in here. So I put the chipboard ones here, and then I put the flat ones in the very front of that same category. They don't have their own categories. So then my next category here is words. So these are all those word stickers that come in the Allie Edwards kits that I haven't used yet. So some of them I've used a lot of, and some of them I haven't used any of. But I know where to get them when I need them. The next category is labels. And so I have them like this. Now, recently, if you've been watching my process videos, you might see that I used to just kind of like grab all of these together. This was one big stack because I didn't have it organized like this. I just recently organized it. So now when I'm looking for labels, I won't have to weed through both labels and letters. All my labels are right here. Some of them are from Ellie's Studio. Some of them are from Kelly Perky. Some of them are from Studio Calico, Ali Edwards, and so on. So all the different brands that I use for Project Life, they'll all kind of show up there. My last category here is letters. And so these are all letter stickers that have come with past kits. And so obviously I have a big stash of letter stickers that are mostly 12 by 6 size, and those I store in another place. If you've seen my Scraproom tour, you know that I have a dedicated Rascog just for letter stickers. So these are the smaller ones that I tend to draw from for Project Life. If I can't find the exact color that I need here, then I will go into my stash, but this is my first place that I go to for Project Life stuff. So let's move on to this category here. So in the back here, I actually do have some rounded corner cards. These I kept on hand because these were the ones that I really liked and didn't really want to part with. And also I thought that they were useful in terms of being able to cut into and use for something else. Like, for example, this grid pattern is really versatile. And some of these lines and stuff, I thought that I could cut out from these and use them in other ways. And then also I just kind of kept these to use as scraps as well, basically scraps of white that I could use for, you know, when I need to do some little journaling lines or whatever. So my first actual category here is grid cards, and it's a bit of a misnomer because it's grid cards and also plain. So I have these, and these are rounded, but I kept them because they are so useful to have the grid cards. And the rounded corner ones I will use if I need to cut it up, so that, or, you know, if I'm just using it for something else. And then these straight cornered ones, these ones are from Studio Calico, and they have a variety. They're double-sided and they have a variety of different patterns of grids on them. These are among my favorite grid cards to use, so I have those. And then I also have these, which are 4 by 6 grid cards that I cut down into 3 by 4. These are from the office supply store, but I like having them on hand. So a whole bunch of different grid cards. I have a category called seasons that I used to use, but now I do something different. So it used to be anything that was specific to spring or fall or winter or summer. I put all my weather cards in here, and anything that had like specific months I would put in here. Now this category was getting huge, so what I did was I separated it out into the months, and I will talk about that at the very, very end of this part of the video. So like the 4 by 6, I have a category called specialty. So these are any specialty cards that I have an idea of specific stories that I might want to use for them. So things like game night, home away from home, I was thinking I might use that for my trailer. I just didn't want to be wondering like, okay, I know I have something for my trailer, but what color was it? I won't remember what color it was, but I might, so I know to kind of look in this place if I've got something specific. I've got like anything about technology and messaging and that sort of thing. And then a couple more of those tabbed cards from Ellie's Studio are in this category as well. And then the other thing that I keep in this specialty category is any kind of series of cards that kind of go well together that I might use all together on one specific page. Basically, I don't want to have this in the orange category, this in the blue category, this in the green, because then if I ever wanted to use these as they're intended to be used, which is kind of as a series, I'd have to go digging and I might not even know that I have them. So I have a set like that, and I also have another set of these currents cards. that kind of look really good together, that might look nice on a series of pages, like every week to do one for like every week or every month for a while. More of those weather cards and 5 things I love about you. So these list cards, and then a couple of these die cut cards from the Scraptastic Kit Club from back in the day. So that's what's in my specialty category. I just left the seasons category empty just in case I ever want to go back to that or something. Then the rest of these cards are sorted in exactly the same way that my 4x6 cards are. So these are my multicolor cards. Then I have my Allie Edwards cards. So these are all basically the same as these ones. And I did the same thing where I just cut out her logo and added it to my rounded tab punch. Then these are all of my colors. So it goes beiges, black and white, pinks, reds, oranges. Then up here we go yellows, greens, blues, purples, and oh, this is a little sample I did for a class I taught about using Project Life cards in a flexible way. Okay, that's like very, very old. So that's in there for some reason. Then we have, this is what I'm calling scrolling journal cards. So this is another set that I bought I bought this recently from Allie Edwards, and these are really nice cards. They do have nice grids on the back, but again, these make a nice series to repeat, either repeating within one spread or putting one of these on one pocket per week for a series of weeks. I thought that might be nice, so I just kept these separate in their own little category right here. I do have a small set of these wood-mounted dollar store letter stamps because I really like this font. It's that typewriting font. And it was in with my art journaling supplies, and when I recently reorganized things, I just put it here just to remember that I have it, and I have the space here to put something, so I thought I'd put it there. So now let's talk about this back section here. So what I've done with this back section is I've taken my seasons that were here, and there was another seasons category that was 4x6. What I did was I organized it into this back section of this, and I'll show you what's in each one. I didn't really want to break it up. I don't have enough supplies to break it up per month, so January, February, March, but what I did was I thought about doing it quarterly, but that would have made my categories a little bit too big. So I ended up doing it in 2-month chunks. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November and December. I'll just pull out January and show you what I've got here. So this is a snack zipper seal bag. I cut the zipper off of it. So it's just one of these, but I cut this part off and just throw it away. These are just from the dollar store. And it just gives me this little clear pocket that holds the supplies together. I put the tabbed divider, which is just a piece of white 4x6 paper with a rounded tab punch that says the category. In this case, it's January, February. And then any of my 4x6 cards that are specific to January go in here. I also have this set of chipboard that's very specific to January. Not every single thing on it is specific to January, but there's enough of it that I've tried to take out anything that is specific to 2022 because I need to use that this year. But the rest of this is just generic January stuff, so I could use it any January. Then after my 4x6 cards and chipboard and anything else that kind of goes in there, I have a couple of stamp sets that are specific to January and February. I have some journal cards, like some 4x6 cards that are specific to January and February, and even a little embellishment. Now, I'm not going to put tons of embellishments in these, but something thin like that, I might as well keep it with the other supplies that are themed with that. So that's what I'm doing. And I have one for every single month. So again, with these ones, this whole set is very themed for Easter and April, whereas these were part of a set that had you know, some things that could be pretty generic. So I just took out the ones that were specific to Easter and April and put them in here. So I guess basically I'm doing things a couple of different ways. I subscribed to Studio Calico one year when they were giving these every month with their documenter kits, and I didn't use most of these, so I have a bunch of them. I don't have a full year's worth, but I have a bunch of them here. And so I won't show you every single one of them, but I just wanted to give you a sense of how I'm storing things that kind of go together from a storytelling perspective. So I'm doing a bit of two things at once here, where I'm storing things color-wise and also story-wise at the same time. In the second tier of the first Raskog, I have my stickers. These are my scrapbooking stickers, so I actually don't draw from these too much in Project Life, but I thought I'd just mention they're here, so if I need to go into them for specific stickers, I've got them here. On the other side, these I actually do reach for more often for Project Life, in particular these label stickers that I keep back here. And I can show this Raskog in more detail in a separate video that isn't specific to Project Life. And then in the very bottom tier of that Raskog, we have my cases that hold my die cuts and my pieces of chipboard, which I sort by color and which I will show in a separate video that's specific to that Raskog, because I don't draw from that for Project Life all that often. So moving on to the second Raskog, this is where I store my Ali Edwards Stories kits, as well as a few other things like grid cards and my sassafras letter stickers. So I store these in these little crates inside of my Raskog, so I'll just move them so that I can show them to you a little bit more closely. And then what's left behind here are some grid cards. So just like my other grid cards, the 3x4s, this is where I keep my 4x6 grid cards because they don't fit any other place. I have a little scraggler kit here that doesn't fit, and this is where I keep all of my sassafras letter stickers that you guys see me reach for when I'm doing my Project Life. So these little crates, by the way, come in a set of 3. I got it at Chapters Indigo, which is a bookstore in Canada, and they actually come apart and flatten out for storage, which I thought was pretty cool. So you buy them at the store like this, all 3 of them kind of wrapped together, and then when you want to use it, you just kind of set it up like that. The nice thing about these is that they actually do stack if you're not, I mean, they won't stack when you've got things that are too tall like this, but these actually stack quite nicely, as you can see here. They stack perfectly, nice and solid. So that's just good to keep in mind as well with these. If you see these out at Chapters, if you're Canadian, these are definitely worth picking up. They are wider than 4x6, which is actually what I was looking at. The dividers that I made here are actually 4x7. They might even be more than 4. I think they're like 4¼ by 7. And what I've done here is I have taken all of my Ali Edwards story kits out of their packaging and filed it in a very similar way to the way that I did my months over in my other Raskog. So each of these categories is a kit. So here's the Together kit. So I have the divider, which I use that rounded tab punch from Stampin' Up. And then these are all of the things that came in the Together kit. And there's the stamp set as well. I usually keep the stamp set in the front. And then again, in another one of these snack Ziploc bags that I cut the zipper part off of, just to give me this little pouch that holds all of the embellishments, like the little Together embellishment and these little tags, all of the 3x4 cards and all of the 4x6 cards, they're all in here. So my thought process here is that if I have these stored in a way that's easy for me to grab, I might use them a bit more. But basically, you know, if I'm telling a story and I'm thinking, oh, right, I've got some cozy supplies, I'll just pull these out, and here they all are, all these cozy themed supplies. And I could use these for scrapbooking, or I could use them for Project Life. So now that you know what these are, it makes a bit more sense that I have another kit here. This is the Begin kit. And in 2022, I stopped getting the stamp set that goes with these. I just found I wasn't using it. So this one is easier to store because there's no stamp set. Everything just fits in the Ziploc. I forgot to cut that was the first one I did, so I didn't cut off the zipper for that one. But that just goes there. And then the new kits have taller paper. And so I'm just sticking all of the taller paper for all of the kits right here. I might end up cutting this paper down, or I might end up using it for scrapbooking. I haven't quite decided what I'm doing there. So it says Begin, but it's the tall paper for everything is in there. And then if you're wondering what these sassafras letter stickers are in, they are in a washi storage container from Michaels. Don't know if they still make those, but I have several of these in my room. And I just always take, there's like a metal strip along here with a jaggedy edge for cutting. I don't know why they do that, because you don't really need a jagged edge for cutting washi, but I always take that off with a pair of pliers so that I don't cut myself. And these can stack as well, but I don't stack this one. So I keep all of my journaling markers right here. This is another one of those Recollections cubes. It's half the depth, so it's 6 inches this way. And then it's, you know, a little bit more than 12 by 12 that way. I also have this little thing here, which is where nowadays I keep my trimmer, my little trimmer. And I also keep my like water pens and spritzers and stuff, my foam adhesive. You guys see me bring this whole drawer over sometimes. And also any kind of clips, paper clips and binder clips and that sort of thing are all in there. This one here is where I have been keeping my video process papers that I keep track of all my videos that I'm doing, and they're all at different stages, and so I keep them in there. And then these are my most current ones. But I'm keeping track of my videos in a completely different way now, which is in my planner. I've got a whole thing about that. So I might actually do a video about how I keep track of my videos. I obviously have all of my tools right here. And so you see me reaching for my scissors and my pens and my glues and stuff. Everything is right here, perfectly handy for me to grab as needed. Don't typically use my ATG for Project Life because there's too much stuff all over my desk when I'm doing Project Life, and this just kind of gets knocked around too much. So I typically use my smaller glue tape dispenser. Okay, so right here we have, this is my pop-in organizer that I have shown before as a Project Life storage unit, and I use it as a bit of a catch-all these days. By the way, just in between this unit and my pop-in unit is where I keep my journaling template. This is my hot off the press journaling template. So then also right here, I just keep my little swatch card that shows me how all of my white pens mark on paper, and also a little swatch card here of my alcohol markers, which I store right there. I have all of my inks stored right here. These are my Stampin' Up inks and also my Stampin' Up alcohol markers. And if you see me stamping anything in colored ink, it's always from these inks. They're my favorite dye inks, mostly because like they're great quality. I think there's lots of great quality inks out there. But I'm really familiar with this color scheme. Like I'm familiar with these colors. I've been using these colors for so long that I always know which one I want to reach for. And so for me, I like these. So in this pop-in unit, I keep any handy things like, well, I am keeping my mist swatches here because I have no other place to keep them, and they fit quite nicely in that little divider. But I keep my flippity flaps here. I keep this die, which I often use for cutting little banners and stuff. These are extra photos in little envelopes that I might use for Project Life. And then these are stamp sets that I might use specifically for Project Life. So I've got like a die here that has, this is something new that I got that I thought I might use for adding inserts to my Project Life. So I just stuck it here so I don't lose it. But these are mostly like this label set, this, and this label set that actually has a die set with it. So then back there, are just different pieces of cardstock that are cut down to half sheets because it's just a bit more manageable for running through a die cutting machine. I use these for both scrapbooking and for Project Life. And then some Cricut mats and my Cricut pens because I do use, actually one of those is somewhere else. Anyhow, I do plan to use my Cricut Joy for journaling, so I got some extra pens there in black, gray, and brown. Hi guys, I wanted to show you my desk setup as well because I do draw from these drawers often when I'm doing Project Life. So this is my main drawer that I have on my left-hand side as I am doing Project Life or any of my scrapbooking. And so what I keep in this drawer is I have these, it's an Alex unit, and I have these little dividers from IKEA, these little trays. And in this one, I keep my main inks. I have these two little stamps that I might reach for, who knows how often, but I might reach for them often. They're on this little thing, and I'll tell you about this in a separate video. Then I have just various kinds of black ink, like multi-purpose black inks. And I have all of these little stamps, these tiny little stamps that basically serve as almost like a roller date stamp type of thing. So anytime I want to put a little label on something or add a little symbol or something, I just draw from these. Then back here I have my Brilliance ink and some Desert Sand Memento, some archival ink, and more Brilliance in the Moonlight and also in the Graphite Black. So that's that one. And then for this one, I keep my another set of these stamps that just doesn't fit in the other section because it's too tall and the drawer won't shut if it's like that. And then I have a little tray here that holds some roller date stamps and washi and some full sticky Post-it notes, some score tape and stamp mist and more washi tape. These are my personalized stamps for putting on the backs of cards, and another personalized stamp for that has my first and last name. And so those all go right there. And back further, I just have different kinds of inks that aren't Stampin' Up inks, but that I don't use all that often. Mostly like different colored Stays On and that sort of. This next drawer is quite interesting. I love this next drawer. So this is where I keep my wood veneer, and I think I'm going to make a separate video that just shows how I set this up because it was really fun to do it this way. These you might recognize because I used to have them all stacked like this with their little lids on them. And when you stack them like that, they all kind of connect to one another and they make this big tower. But I found that I wasn't reaching for my wood veneer often enough because it was a bit of a hassle to have to kind of like find the tray that I want, the container that I wanted, and unhook the adjacent ones in order to use it. This way it's all like they fit perfectly here in this drawer, and I can just kind of reach for the ones that I want. I do have them sorted by shape, so I have my hearts here with extra hearts here. I have like geotags and iconography like at and ampersands and hashtags and stuff. I have arrows, I have like my little potty people here, rain and weather and sun and stuff, stars and asterisks, more stars, like that kind of star. I have open stars. Obviously I like stars, I have a lot of them. I have this little set of Stampin' Up ones that I keep in this space here. They're a little tricky to get out, but they're a little bit higher end and they're fancy hearts, so I keep them separate so that I remember that I have some fancy hearts. If I put my fancy hearts in with these they would get lost in the bottom. So there we go. Then back here I just have bigger trays with bigger wood veneer, so these sorts of ones, and another bigger tray with bigger wood veneer, and another bigger one with bigger wood veneer. The next drawer is relevant to Project Life. It has my tools, including the one that I reach for the most, which is my mini Misty. So it's always right here. Super easy for me to grab it. I do have other Misty tools and stamp positioning tools. Like I have a Stampin' Up one. I actually also have Tim Holtz's ones, but they're downstairs. The other thing that you might sometimes see me reach for in here is my very small die cut machine. This is a Cuddle Kids. It was made for kids. And then last but not least, and also sort of related to Project Life, this is my cleanup drawer. And what I love about this is that, first of all, I like keeping my Kleenex in a drawer because it creates a lot of dust. I've found that since I've been keeping my paper towel and Kleenex in a drawer, it cuts down on the dust quite a lot in the room. And so I just keep like rags, and what I love is being able to, if I'm doing messy things, I will take my paper towel roll and just leave it like that. And then when I need some, I can just pull it off like that. And I love, love, love being able to grab a paper towel so easily. So you guys probably often see me grabbing these trays and bringing them to my work surface. So these are just they're from IKEA. I have been looking for more of them, but I cannot find them. They're not in stock. I hope that they haven't stopped making them because they're super convenient. I have 6 of them in here, and I've just taken these are my special embellishments. So these are my very, very favorite embellishments. So I have this tray holds all of my rubber pieces. This one holds all of my acrylic pieces. There's a couple of other non-acrylic things in here, but it's mostly acrylic pieces. This one holds anything fabric, so these badges, felt, things made out of threads. I have a friend who gave me a whole bunch of crocheted things that I love. These are from Heidi Swapp. Just lots of, this is like a little fabric border edge thingy, so that all goes in there. This is where I keep my remaining flare. I used to have a huge flare collection, and now I only have a few pieces of flare left. So these are my remaining flare. Also, cork pieces are in here. These are like mini flares, and then these are some little acrylic pieces from Stampin' Up that are a set, and I don't want, if I put these in here, they'll go to the bottom and be hard to find, so I just keep them in there. I have a whole tray dedicated to bows, and all of these I might use on scrapbook pages as well as on Project Life pages. So these are kind of for both. So these are all my bows. Some of these bows are paper bows that I have made with dies and punches that I have, and others you will recognize from Amy Tangerine and from Bella Boulevard, and this one I made myself. But some of these are from like Maggie Holmes collections that I made myself. I think these are from Maggie Holmes. These are Bella Boulevard. Yeah, so don't ask me how I remember all that. But then here, this is mostly cabochons. So these are all cabochon flowers that I have. Some of them are from Stampin' Up, and some of them are from various, I don't know, Maggie Holmes and other collections. And then I just stuck these in there because I didn't have another place for them to go. I don't use those all that often. There's a bit of extra space back here where I keep some just extra things that are not as easily put. I'm afraid that the color on these is going to transfer. These are not such good quality. These are from American Crafts, and I don't want to put these in with my Ali Edwards ones because I don't want them to stain them. So just random other things I put back there. I do have another drawer of embellishments. These are kind of more specialty embellishments. I just have one of these trays that I took the lid off of so that I could just use it as a tray in my drawer. And I have like little resin things, little clear stars. These are things I don't really use all that often. They're not really my style, but there are times when I want something that's a little bit different than what I usually use, and so that's where this is. And a lot of other embellishments are just kind of like stuffed in the back here. Things that are nice, and I kind of have a sense that there's more nice stuff back there that I can draw from. I have a lot of little push pins here, decorative push pins and whatnot. The rest of these are just my general supply drawers that are not really relevant to project life or pocket scrapbooking. So I will show you what's in the bottom of this Raskog as well, because I do often use stamps when I am doing project life. So these are my scrapbooking and project life stamps, as opposed to my card making stamps, which I keep in a separate place. I also have art journal stamps that I keep in that other separate place too. But this is basically anything that I want to draw from when I'm scrapbooking and project lifing here at my table. So I have prioritized these supplies to be handy and close to me over other supplies that I might need less often. So what I've done is I keep my stamps in these Avery L pouches that many of us use. I buy the no-name brand from Amazon, so they cost a little bit less. They're slightly different size. If you plan to use both of them and you're sensitive to things being different sizes, just know that these are slightly different size, but I don't really notice the difference. So I just throw my stamps in there, and I do insert a little liner so that they look more consistent. And I keep them by category. So my categories are foodie, everyday, home, technology, TV, travel, summer, holiday, office, school, documenting, miscellaneous, words, and dates and times. Then I keep my alphas right back here. So these are any alphabet stamp sets that I have. My smaller alphabet stamp sets just slip in the front here. So these are all of these. And these are just in little 6 by 12 inch bags. These are the same bags that I use for my thickers. I just cut off the bottom of it and use it as a little mini bag to hold all of these smaller alpha stamp sets. Now, if I roll this around this way, that's where I keep these little pouches that hold my stickers that are common iconic shapes that I reach for a lot. So I have a folder of all arrow stickers. I have a folder of all star stickers. And I have a folder of all heart stickers of various sizes. Then if you're interested in where I go when I'm grabbing a punch, it's in that Raskog right there. All three of those tiers hold different punches. My small letter stickers that I sometimes go and get, that little white thing that holds letter stickers, that's right there. And my Big Shot station is right on that Raskog right there. So you will see me pull that over. I roll it over. I change my camera angle to this one that you're looking at right now so that you can see me using the die cut machine, and then I just kind of like push it back and it rolls across my floor. So that's pretty much how I store all of the supplies that I have dedicated towards project life, as well as some of the supplies that I frequently bring in from my general scrapbooking stash. So I hope that you guys found this helpful, and maybe it gave you a few ideas on how you can set up your scrap room or scrap area so that you can reach things easily and quickly. I hope that you guys have a really great scrappy week, and I'll see you next time.